Welcome to the Fully Engaged Fitness Podcast, where you'll be hearing from the top fitness experts from the engaged personal training community of businesses. These include client interviews and success stories, insights and tips from our top fitness experts, and the unique approach that we bring to our clients that have helped transform thousands of lives over the last 10 years in business. Don't forget to like and subscribe this podcast so that you can be the first one in the know. Now let's get into this episode.
What's going on, Gage family? This is Coach Nick from our Westchester Gage location. Guys, I'm really excited. I have somebody that I'm happy to introduce you guys to today. This is somebody who I have had the distinct pleasure of working with quite a bit over the past year. We're just past a year and a half. Yeah. Awesome. So I've gotten to know this wonderful person quite a bit over the past year and a half. We've had some fun working in small groups together. And I'm very, very excited to share her story with you guys and have you hear from her. So I would like to introduce Chris Moscariello.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Chris, thank you very much, first of all, for coming in. We've been talking about this for a little while, trying to get Chris in here. And I think your story is very valuable to people.
I hope so. It's been quite an adventure here. You put up with me for over a year and a half.
Absolutely. Hey, you put up with me too, so that's part of the deal, right? I know I don't have the softest personality all the time, but we try and ease into it, which is early on, right? That was kind of one of the things that I promised.
And I started from nowhere. Yeah. Like my main exercise was getting up and down out of my office chair, onto my sofa, into my bed. Like that was the extent of my squats and sit-ups.
And has that been for a long time?
Probably at least 10 or 15 years. I did the gym thing when I was younger and I had bad experiences. I hired a personal trainer who was not paying attention. Like at one point I literally stopped the exercise and he kept correcting my form even though I was standing still because he was checking out some young person that had walked by. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was turned off by the whole experience. And then my husband, Frank, he found Gage online and was like, I think we need a gym. And he was researching and I'm like, I think we're good. The sofa might fly away if we don't sit on it.
What are we going to do with the sofa?
Exactly. So then he pointed out the site to me that said pain-free workouts for people over 40. I avoid pain. I'm over 40. All right, we'll go.
Seems like a good fit.
It seemed like a good fit. So we showed up. I came straight from work, met him. And we came in and we saw people doing some crazy exercises with some crazy devices that was super intimidating. It made no sense. But being the good wife, I humored him. I'm like, sure, we'll do it for a week and we'll see how it goes. And it was good. It was super intimidating when we started, even though I can be quite a personality. Like I was super intimidated.
What was the most intimidating thing, like just in your head? Like what kind of made it feel intimidating?
The look of what everybody was doing and the fact that I immediately was like, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. And so therefore I immediately compared myself to other people instead of just comparing myself to myself. And yes, it's that tunnel vision. Yeah. It's that tunnel vision. Yeah. So, doing it with Frank was great because, obviously a source of encouragement and things like that. But I was like, okay, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to do that. And you are very familiar with my phrase of, that's never going to happen. Followed up with my phrase of, I did it. So,
got a lot of it.
Yes, you often hear me say, I don't want that in my life. And then later I'm like, I'm a badass and I did it.
We've had a lot of those wins.
I have had a lot of wins. When I came, I was so out of shape that just even carrying the laundry basket up the steps, it was literally like, put it on the step, walk up a few, put it on the step, walk up a few, take a break when I got to the top. And then the first time I carried like a full laundry basket up the steps without a break, it was like that moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm getting stronger. I'm getting
real life
fitter.
strength. Yeah.
Yes. And then when I started being able to carry up 2 laundry baskets and put all the laundry away without needing to sit down first and catch my breath, as a out of shape asthmatic, it's super nice to be able to
do the life things. Yeah.
It was amazing. And then I had incidents where I had to travel for work and then we were at one gate got on the plane. They got us off the plane. We had to move to a different gate in a different terminal. And I was able to like grab my bag out of the overhead and carry it. And I'm like, oh, literal suitcase carry from Gage. So I was walking to the other terminal and I'm like, I carried it for quite a ways off the plane.
Instead of putting this time.
Right. Instead of putting it down like the minute I could and drag it, I was like, it's just faster to get through this crowd to keep carrying it. And so that was like another one of those like, this stuff actually works.
This transfers to my life? This is great.
Right. Oh, this is more than a scale thing. I get it. And the fact that like I wasn't focused on the scale after a certain point. It's like, all right, how do my clothes fit? How do I feel?
Hell yeah.
You know, for you larger folks out there, can I tie my shoes in the center? Like that was a big win.
Yeah.
So
and those are things
those
that people,
kinds of things.
we don't think about that. Like when we look at this journey, a lot of people aren't necessarily considering, and then after the fact, when it happens, you're like, oh crap, like I can do that now.
Yes.
Or like I feel really good doing that now. So like what was your impetus? Like what was the thing or the thought process that kind of hit you where you guys were like, all right, let's start looking at gyms?
Literally, Frank. I think with COVID, just staying in all the time, we did less and less and less. And, you know, approaching 50, it was the whole like, okay, we've got to start taking care of our health. And again, I was resistant. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to go on record. Frank was right.
Frank, if you're listening, man, I would like you to put that in the notebook, put that in the record books, all right? It's recorded, all right, for forever.
I'm gonna hear this forever for the rest of my life. No, but he was, and it is something, obviously my doctors have talked to me about, and my primary is like, what are you doing to better yourself? You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Like you're not staying the same. Yeah. Like what are you doing? And it was cool because once I started working out a bit and I went in for my physical, because even though I wasn't working out, I would do my physicals. And she noticed immediately I was more agile, and she's like, wow, you get up and down off the exam table with no problem. I got my blood work was better.
How soon was that? Like when did you see, how long had you been here by the time you went back to the doctor?
Probably about almost 6 months.
Okay.
And my blood work from the previous year had already started like getting better. Like my blood sugars were always elevated but not out of range. Mm-hmm. And they were almost at dead center normal.
After 6 months.
Yeah. So which is huge. And, I just started making other life changes as well. You might recall my resistance to the protein post-workout because, I'm picky and I don't like that stuff.
How are we doing now with it?
I actually had some today, just for giggles, where I do 6 ounces of milk, 2 scoops, a little bit of ice, so I get 50 grams of protein and 300 calories.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a nice meal replacement for me with my calorie allotment. So it works out really well. And it's chocolate, so it's good.
Yeah, look, it's so funny. We've been talking about this a lot recently.
I resisted. I think I called it snake oil.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, because it's something you hear about all the time, and it's like, oh, protein. Right. I laughed. I'm like, when I became a strength coach, I was like, oh, I'm the guy now that protein in, bro. Like, and it does. It seems like, no way, man, that can't be the crux of it all, but I mean,
it helps the recovery. Like, that was the thing. I'm like, oh, okay, well, sure, if I eat protein after a workout, I'll feel better. Okay. And then I did, and I'm like, time to eat some crow after that protein and tell them that it actually worked.
And listen, to your credit, every time that you have either said, I can't do it or I don't want to do it, and you've come back and you've realized that you've either enjoyed it or it was better than you thought, you have been honest with me and said that.
Yeah, I own up to my errors of my ways. But I resisted that protein like nobody's business. And then I'm like, I don't like milkshakes. I'm not gonna like that. I'm not okay, so I just blend it a little longer and make it a little smoother than a milkshake. Yeah. And do it willingly. And sometimes it's just like, oh, you get that chocolate craving, and I get my chocolate milkshake in there, and it's like, But
they're
it works
so much better than they used to be.
I wouldn't know.
I can tell you, they used to, like, the protein shakes used to be bad enough. Like, when we were, again, I'm almost 36, so like 20 years ago, you would pinch your nose and drink them. Yeah, and you would, like, put it down in one go.
I wouldn't have done it.
No, I don't blame you. And I don't, like, it was, that's why
I'm pretty stubborn, as you know. So I wouldn't have done it. Now. Yeah, no, it's delicious now. Like, and
it's
you know,
part of your routine.
I do love my same flavor. You know, Frank mixes it up with all his different flavors. I am consistent with my chocolate because chocolate is life, you know, and I still get to have it, but it's healthy.
Yeah. And
Who
honestly,
knew? I mean, I came to the gym on my birthday. I came for my 49th birthday to the gym, which, I mean, I shocked myself with that. That was crazy. And I asked for, you know, new weightlifting shoes and new gloves. Like, I don't know. That's when I realized I was a gym rat. Kind of laughed at that, considering how my lifestyle was before.
but and
I'm all in now.
Yeah.
I'm all in now.
One of the things that for me, you know, we've talked about this in the past, and it's something that it's the phrase, you know, long-term consistency over short-term intensity.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like, if you had come in the first day and I was like, all right, cool, here's your weights, here's your this, here's your that, how long would you have stayed?
Maybe that full session. I might have given up midway. I might have been overwhelmed and frustrated and bounced. But it was really cool because even when I was doing this stuff, like, it came time for me to do a push-up, and I couldn't even, like, lean over to, like, a counter height. I was up against the wall. Like, my hands were shoulder height against the wall, and it was exhausting. I tried to lift the 5-pound weights for a bench press. I did, like, 2 reps. It was awful. And I'm next to people who are doing push-ups on medicine balls with chains on their back, and I'm just like, this wall's real sturdy.
I like it over here.
Right.
Just hold this wall up. We're good.
Right. I'm protecting you all. But, like, I got cheered on by the others with the same level of, like, you know, when I slightly lowered, it was like, yeah, that's awesome. Next to the person with the chains on their back who's, like, killing it. And it was really cool that not only the coaches, but the other members were so encouraging as well. You know, because, again, like, as you've become familiar with this is never going to happen, to my, I did it! Mm-hmm. It's like I suddenly turn into a toddler who's so excited about their accomplishment.
But you should be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's celebrating those kinds of wins and seeing where I was to where I am, and then getting comments from, like, family members and stuff like that. And I recently had to help move furniture, and, you know, older brother was like, isn't that heavy? I'm like, not for me. And I'm like, walk in and, like,
I don't know if you know this, but I work out pretty regularly.
I lift. And it's funny because, like, it's just, you know, those little things where I've almost begun to take for granted I can do stuff that I never could before. And to have, like, others see, like, wow, you're doing a lot more than you did before. You're a lot stronger than you were before. And just being able, you know, the groceries, like, let's try not to make multiple trips.
One trip. Everybody knows the rules, Chris. It's one trip.
Right. So
I'd rather die than go back to the car again.
Right. I still haven't mastered the loaded down of bags and opening the car door. I need one of those ones that you wave the foot and it opens. That's what I need, and I could do it. But just to...
Or the fob in your mouth.
I'm just not that coordinated. You see me. I'm not that coordinated.
We're getting there.
I'll be like, and then I swallowed the fob. And now I'm at the hospital. So...
Where's the key fob? I swallowed it.
Every time I
got
cough,
startled.
Every time I cough, you hear my heart beat. Like, it's just not good. But it's amazing to see, like, those differences in my life. And, you know, even at work, it was funny. We got some boxes in that we had to move. And I just was like, oh, I'll jump in and help. And I picked them up and carried them. And then when somebody else came to get other boxes, she couldn't lift it. And she went and got a hand cart. And in that moment, I was kind of like, oh, I am strong.
Yeah, Gobbler carries, farmer carries, like all that stuff.
I mean, it's all for a good reason, even when I complain about it. As I sometimes do.
We all do, man. Like, there's always stuff like,
yes.
I mean, look, it's the same thing. Like, we've talked about this before. For some people, it's like the gym is the easy part, the nutrition is the hard part. For some people, the nutrition is the hard part, the gym's the easy part. For me, like, I don't do well with, like, organization and strict organization, but going to the gym is something I've been doing since I was a kid, right? It's just your habit at this point. And now
it's become a habit. It's so weird. And, like, when we went on vacation last summer, I kayaked. And I will tell you right now, my ideal vacation when there's water involved is looking at the water, reading a book, relaxing. and we were kayaking, and it was so fun. And I realized like how much arms and abs and everything was in, and I'm like, I'm working out on vacation, like voluntarily with a smile. Who am I?
I'm loving this right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Who am I? And those are the things where I realized like it really seeped into a lifestyle change,
awesome.
not just a thing, you know. And it was always like, okay, gotta work out to get fit. So that always implied that like once you reach a certain level, then you don't have to work out.
Cool, done.
Right.
I'm solved, I'm good to go.
Right. And then it's like, oh, just like, you know, with different things, like I mentioned, I'm asthmatic. So I recently got a spirometry test that I haven't gotten done in a couple of years since before Gage. And for those of you that don't know, it's how well your lungs work with how much you inhale, how much you exhale, and how quickly you exhale. And there's a machine that does all the computer stuff. So a normal, healthy adult can test at 80 or above. I was consistently in the 60s, lower if I was having an asthma attack. And this last visit, I got a 77, and even my doctor was shocked because I hadn't seen her in a while just because I've been maintained. I've seen other people in the practice. Mm-hmm. So when I finally got this test, and she's like, you are almost normal. And she's like, you're 50 this year, you're asthmatic, and you're almost normal. And she was like, talk to me. And I was telling her like all the workouts, and she's like, well, you can't lift weights if you don't do cardio, and you can't do cardio if you don't lift weights. And I felt like you were there somewhere hiding in a cabinet or something.
Did you talk to Nick earlier today?
How did he know? How did he know I was coming? But it was like she just kept enforcing that you can't do one without the other. And the reason that my levels were the highest they've ever been is because of the work that I'm doing here. And when I realized like all those different things, not only the lifestyle thing, but like I'm literally changing the way my body functions. Like I'm changing my health. I'm changing my outlook as I age. And that is, you know, like, oh, so this is never going to end. Like this is what is keeping me healthier and younger. And, you know, we know I had my little trip and fall recently where you accommodated all of my exercises.
You didn't stop coming to the gym though.
No, which was so strange because old me would have been like, score, I got a couple weeks off. But new me is like, all right, I'm going to come. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do because I have one hand that's messed up, one foot that's messed up. Let's figure it out. And I mean, I sweated the whole time. Like I got a full workout in. And, you know, thinking about, like, I had previous injuries where the reason I went to go get x-rayed is because I had a previous break in that foot. And I was like, I'm literally strengthening my muscles, my ligaments, and all those things. And I wouldn't say I'm bouncier, but I would say that I'm stronger.
Sure.
And things are less likely to tear, less likely to break. And when you put all that together, it's like me coming here and lifting weights is literally saving so much aggravation for me down the road. And also you get to work out a lot of the stress that you have because you know me with my, you know me and my mace slams. Yeah. For those of you who have never met me, try to meet me before you see me do a mace slam because I'm told I let it all out.
So you guys know I love the steel mace. One of the things we'll do here is we do mace sledgehammer slams where it's like we take horse mats that are, you know, soft enough to hit but sturdy enough to really give hell, and I'll give them to clients.
It is amazing. And I've actually been lucky enough that I've used it when going through stressful times or medical stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
It's like I need to work through some anger and like nervousness and like just hit that mat until you feel all better. It's like it's like going to a spa. It just relaxes it all.
Look, why do you think they have the rage rooms and stuff like that? Where you're like, I want to go in and just smash some stuff. They're like, all right, well, we can do something similar here. Like, let's do med ball slams. Let's do things that like help you get some of that out.
And the medicine ball slams, I mean, hearing the slam is so cathartic. So, you know, sometimes like I think back to when I was new and it was like I kind of threw it down. It was more like I tossed it down. And then once I got right, it was like boink, boink. And then once I got the idea of the slam, it was just
this is different.
This feels really good. So whatever in life is frustrating me, I'll picture on the floor, and then that's where that ball's gonna hit.
Have I ever taken a sticky note for you and drawn on the ground?
No.
Oh, we've done that. No. I've done that. Well, even with the mace slams, like I know Brandon one time, he like drew a frowny face or whatever. Was like, whoever you need to pretend that is, we'll put that right on that pad and let you slam the hell out of it. Be like, that's a good idea.
I may or may not have called my slams by an individual name sometimes when I'm going through some stuff. I'm like, let's just, for the record, I've never called them my nicks. So you're
well,
welcome.
you know what? I have had
welcome.
people do that. I've had to. I think I told you this before. I had a girl. She's been here forever. Lauren's awesome, but she's like the one day she was getting. We're at a large group. She's flustered. She's going, and this is Nick's head, and this is Jeff's head, and Devin's, and I was cracking up laughing. I'm like, all right. I looked at her. I went, that's fair.
That is fair.
That's
and
fair.
you guys all have very thick skin because when we are frustrated and we don't want to do something, you find a way, and it's like, I hate this. Like, are you kidding me right now? And then you did one. Like, keep going. Do another one. Do another one.
See how you feel.
And seeing that progression, it's, I mean, I look back to when I first came in and I'm like, never going to do that, never going to do that, never going to do that, never going to do that. And now I'm the person doing it. It's so, like, surreal. And so when I see new people, I'm like, listen, I had to lean against the wall. I was, like, completely vertical doing a push-up. Like, you're leaning over, like, counter height. You're a rock star because it took me a bit to get there.
And what type of reaction have you gotten from people when you're talking about that type of stuff?
Some, like, there's been some where they just don't believe. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, we see where you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, ask any one of the people who have been there.
You're like, I'm not making this shit up to you. Like, I'm not
at
making
all.
up. I'm telling you, this is exactly
Not
what it
at
was for me
all.
when I got here. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And, like, when somebody's like, oh, look how heavy the weights you're lifting. Like, oh, I wish I could lift that much. And I'm like, I couldn't lift the 5 pounds. I did 2 reps and thought I was going to die. I was like, death is near. And it's like...
I'd be like, hey, let's do 2 more reps. You're like, oh, no, thank you. I'm good.
My
No, thanks.
arms don't work anymore. And, being able to come now, it's like, when I see somebody else, I'm like, you are way ahead of where I was.
They just don't realize.
So you are going to pass me in no time. And that's okay. Like, pass me. I hope you do.
I'm on my own journey, man.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I think, like those kind of moments of the encouragement and knowing what it was like to come in and, seeing people doing different things. And I'm like, I don't even know what they're holding. And then you get your program and there's acronyms on there. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to do
Even now
that.
you know most of those acronyms as you go. You're like, I know what this is now.
It is kind of funny because you pick up on stuff and I'm like, okay, like, all right, like RDLs really don't lean, what? I don't know, like really don't wanna, is it RDW? Like, but you start to do it and instead of looking at the big picture, like you and all the other coaches are really good at breaking it down and saying, like, just look at this one little section.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about all the different things. We're working on this one block right now and we're going to take one block at a time. And so, when we get used to the program, you change it up. So just when I get comfortable and I know everything, and then you
Got it. And now we're just...
It's like,
I thought I was just getting good at this. Now I have to do new things.
I'm like, wait, you're going to change this on me every month? Like,
And now with that change, though, right? Like, there's a lot of things like we've done.
yes.
We've
And it's
done a ton
variations of stuff
yeah.
too. So, when I first got comfortable with the bench press, I'm like, now I'm on the floor. Well, this is different. Now I'm on an incline. Well, this is different. It keeps the muscles guessing, but it keeps me guessing because I don't know.
Let's just really quickly, because when you and I first started, we used to bargain.
We bargain all the time.
We used to bargain, right? It was a bargain when I would say, okay, look,
He's being kind. I was very difficult.
But we literally, we would strike a bargain. All right, I want you to do this. Well, I don't know if I can do that. All right, well, where do you... Well, okay, well, fine. Well, let's go for 2 reps. Like, if it was this, well, I don't want to go up to 10 pounds. All right, well, what do you think we do 3 more reps? I can do that, right? And those were the bargains we used to strike.
Yes, we would negotiate. Like, okay, I don't want to go up in weight. Okay, we'll do more reps. Fine.
And now what happens?
And now it's like, okay, wait, I have to do how many reps? Can I just go up in weight?
Or I think I can do more weight.
Yes.
I'm cracking up. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but I think I can go heavier. I'm like, I know you can go heavier. You're like, oh, all right.
There's always that hesitation. I'm like, even the other night doing my deadlift, I'm like, I start heavier than that now.
Uh-huh.
I said that out loud.
Uh-huh.
And it's good because it's like I'm embracing it.
For sure.
It's not me being pushed. I mean, definitely the encouragement is good, but let's be real. In the beginning, I needed to be pushed.
Sure. But you know more of what you're capable of now.
Yes, and I'm still in denial. Like that saying on the wall, you're stronger than you think. I mean, like, it's like, got my name in front of it with a comma. But it's so true. And then when we've done the testing just to see like what max levels are, and you're like, I'm not going to let you see what you're lifting. You know, you're not allowed to know the number. And being able to do what I do, or the insistence that I couldn't go up on my deadlift, and you wanted to see how many I could do in a row. And
how many did you do?
Was it 22 or
23? 23 reps.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm like, I can't
close your
go
eyes
up.
and do as many
can't
as you
go
can.
up.
Right?
Yes. I attribute that to the breath work too, because that is something I also didn't embrace quickly. And then in the beginning, I was like, I can't really breathe in and out through my nose because not only do I have asthma, I have chronic sinusitis. I'm just a mess. And like one of my nostrils is like 50% closed. It's a mess. But now like I've worked so hard on getting the breath work that I realized how much power comes behind that. And, you know, truly being able to focus on the breathing, it's like, oh, all the things they told me actually do make sense.
It's like these things fit together. All right.
They really know what they're doing here. Maybe I shouldn't be so difficult.
All right. You're allowed to be difficult. You know what I mean?
I like to be a challenge. I like to challenge you as much as you like to challenge me.
You know what? Reciprocity. It's all about reciprocity. You know what I mean?
Pretty much it.
But like, and I want people to hear this because again, like we've said how much, you know, like you've gone up, but like let's put some numbers on this, right? Like we've said, okay, we were doing push-ups on the wall. Where are we at now?
Below the knee.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
almost to the floor.
And they're clean.
Yeah.
And they're clean push-ups, right? Like and we didn't move until they were clean.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
What about your
no
deadlift?
matter how much I wanted to.
What about your deadlifts? Where did we start?
We had to start with the step-up box. We were probably almost a foot off the floor.
About 6 or 8 inches off the floor.
Yeah, and we started with either the 5-pound or the 10-pound dumbbell, maybe the 8-pound.
I think it was a 10-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, and doing that, and I'm not gonna lie, very hateful thoughts would go through my brain doing those. And now I've become obsessed with the trap bar, and like, you know, I did 155 the other night, and the one time when we were doing our test out where I just kept doing that and push-ups over and over, which old me would have been like, hey, good luck trying to get me to do that. New me was like, this is amazing, let's keep going.
Let me go again. Add some more weight on. Let me go one more time. I think I can do more.
Right. I'll tell you what, like that endorphin high is real. And just knowing what I'm able to do, and you know, like the bench presses, like I said, it was 2 reps holding 5-pound weights, and now I think I'm either at 35 or 40-pound weights on the bench, and it's crazy to think, you know, like when I pick up a 5-pound weight now, it's
you're like, what is this?
Right.
Just pick it up with 2 fingers. Like, sorry, somebody left this sitting here.
I think it's like your comment when I picked up the medicine ball by the little tag.
Yeah.
And then the comments about what I can and cannot lift and how easily I move the kettlebell. When I was like, I can't lift this, it's too heavy. And then I
picked it up like it was a purse and like put it on the side. I was like, I don't know if you know this, but you just outed yourself because you moved that really easy. I guess it is a little light, isn't it?
Or when I've had the trap bar when I first started out and I would walk it somewhere to do the lifting.
Yeah.
And you're like, you literally took that for a walk.
If you can pick that up and spin it around and talk to Frank while you're holding it, I think we can go a little heavier.
Yeah. So it took me a bit to understand, like, okay, I can go heavier. I can do things. And to, like, trust myself in doing them. And then the plank, oh my gosh, I couldn't even do a plank against the counter when I started. It, like, we just kept coming up with alternatives for me and everything else. And now my planks are on the floor. And it's just mind-boggling.
And what did we do the other day?
40 seconds. Which is like a record for me, considering last month I was at 20 seconds. And I, like, you know, getting to that level and like having my core be so tight.
Hell yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like it was that focus on getting the form right.
Well, and
like,
you set that as a goal too.
I did.
Right? And this is what I think, you know, for people to understand too. Is
I actually set it for a lesser number and then I went again.
Look, none of this should happen by accident. Like you came in and you were like, hey, I really want, our push-ups are moving down because you said, I really would like to be able to do push-ups better. Cool. So now we're doing that, right?
Yep.
It was early on, it was, hey, like the goal was what early on was just get in.
Just come.
Right? Just come.
Show up.
Just show up. And
just show up.
But that's
and
a good
do some
goal.
work.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
And they developed and they changed.
You've got the other sign. You've already done the hardest part by showing up. So it's like, oh, cool. That means I'm done, right? Okay.
People, like you're busy. You know what I mean? Like you got a lot of stuff going on. And you got a lot of stress.
You know, like, and in the beginning it was like, okay, we're trying to fit this in. We're trying to work it around. And now it's like an assumed thing that we are working out at these days and times. Like that is just the assumption.
It's scheduled. It's part of your schedule, right?
It's like we go to work, we do this. Like it's become routine to the point that others know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that, you know, for example, we usually are here on a Tuesday night. We might have something coming up and people are like, we'll let you know well in advance because we know you'll have to move your night if that's the thing. So the fact that it's so ingrained in us that other people are aware.
Yeah.
You know, and then just also having that accountability. Like, I mean, people here are great at keeping you accountable, but for me...
Passive aggressive text messages from coaches if you don't show up. Is everything okay? I just want to make sure that you're fine.
I'm not gonna lie, I love that. I'm like, I fell down and went boom. I gotta get the doctor to clear me. I think that was the text over the winter.
Yeah.
But I love that. And like, you know, the other members as well, like, you know, they're really good about that. But there are certain times where you've had a rough day at work, you're physically exhausted, it's miserable out, and you're thinking, oh. But then you have somebody else who's right there. And, you know, if it's Frank who's had an off day or me or an off day, like, we're doing this? We doing this? Yeah. Fine. And then we come and it's like, I'm so glad we came.
Yeah. And you've made friends here too. Like, I mean, you guys have such like outgoing personalities. Like, it's one of those things where...
Hear that, Frank?
Yeah, I love Frank. Frank and I have a blast, man. It's just, you know, you have Frank, which is a really good accountability. But I think, you know, you guys have been working out with the same 4 to 7 different people in those sessions for a long time.
We really have. And it's cool because now my cousin Julie comes here.
Yeah.
And she lives in Manayunk. She works at Widener, but she comes here for the gym because she saw how much I was doing and how much I had changed and how I was actually enjoying going to a gym. And
she's like, what's going on over there?
Well, she herself, we both have had past issues with inclusivity and like, you know, are you going to come and it's just going to be a bunch of like, I'm swole, you know, or things
you are swole now. Now that's you, Chris.
you will see me do that. But so, you know, seeing that and knowing that I had that kind of influence and I'm like, she's outlifted me. Go ahead, girl. It's just, you know, and then her friend whom I've known forever, Janine, is coming now. So it's seeing like that there's such an impact on the change.
That's you.
I know, and it's still, I can't process that. Like, it's still like...
You are a person who has influenced other people. Like, think about that for a minute.
Yeah,
Your journey and your health has inspired more than just those two, I guarantee you. I guarantee you more than just those two people.
Gonna give me the tears, man.
But that's truthful, right?
Yeah.
People think it's cliche to say like, oh, fitness is a lifestyle. Like, it is. It can be a cliche thing to say, but your story speaks to the validity of that statement.
It does, because I will tell you, like, I was quite happy being sedentary with blood work that was questionable and like being told if you don't do something, you're gonna have some health issues. And I'm just like, okay, I'll you know, wish about it, thoughts and prayers for my health. And it's like, and now that I'm doing something and I see the actual change, it's tangible. And like that to me was like, wow, like this
is producing this.
Right, it's cause and effect.
You're winning, you get wins, you're stacking wins up.
Yes, and I love my non-scale victories. I love them. As you know, like I'll come in and be like, guess what I did? Like, we did this, it was amazing, or I was able to lift this, you know, and then seeing the impact, it's...
And you know how I feel about that stuff, and all of us, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, I'm an emotional person, man. You guys come in and tell me that stuff, like, there's times, like, you probably see me, like, I will well up with tears certain times where I'm like, F yeah, dude. Like, that makes me so happy,
And it's like, oh my gosh, I did these things, it was awesome! And I mean, even in the beginning when I first came, you can remember, I could not kneel. Even with the AirX pads, like my knees were just so angry. And now it's like I can get up and down off the floor without crawling to the bench and pushing myself up. Because in the beginning, that's what it was. It was me. If I was on the ground, I had to be next to the bench because I had to crawl over and lift myself up with that. and being able to get up and down and seeing like the stuff that I can do. It's just like, you know, and I think I've had those moments where I'm like, did you see what I just did? Look what I just did. And I'm like getting down and getting up like, look.
Doing some tall kneel to stands, no big deal.
Right, exactly. And all those other exercises and stuff. It's just, it's really empowering. And, you know, and then, you know, I love to make up my own names for things like the grabby bar thing, the Viking bar. And I'm like, I'm a Viking. Yes. And poor Frank had to listen to me say, I'm a Viking over and over.
You've made fun of it.
Yes.
You've made fun of the workouts. And I think that is what people realize too, is it's like, listen, you're doing something challenging. And you guys need the environment
to make that happen.
I hope so.
Yeah, because like I said, I have done gyms before, I have done trainers before, and it's just, it's different. It's very different. It's like free to fail, free to laugh, free to cry, whatever you need to do. It's just like, it's great. And then to be able to come in and like, okay, I hurt my one foot, I hurt my opposite hand. All right, Hannah, I can't do any of this program, and I'd like to teach her. She got the master class in program modifications that day because she's like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "Nope."
All right, we'll change it up.
But when I left, I was like as sweaty as I was during a normal workout.
And you didn't lose your gains.
And no, I didn't. And I really thought if I did 2 or 3 exercises, I would be golden. And I was like, I had a full day, full workout. There was no ghosting that day. Mm-hmm. So it's just nice to be able to have all that. And like, you know, it's fun. It is fun. And I never thought I'd say that. Because in the beginning, I was only humoring Frank.
Did you ever think that your numbers were going to look like they do?
No.
How about your breath?
I mean, that was me. My doctor was shocked. Because like I had seen her for years and then like, you know, just time gaps, whatever. And then so to have that test and she was like, do you remember where you were? And like in the 60s.
How did it feel walking out of there?
Oh my gosh, I strutted out of there. I was so excited. I was texting and I'm like, guess what I just did? And it was amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all the breath work. I'm able to breathe better, which is affecting my sinuses because I'm so focused on trying to get that inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and like breathing through the workout as opposed to holding my breath, hoping I don't die. You know.
Don't pass out during the sled pushes.
It was the dead bug, which I still argue should be called dying bug, because if it was dead, I could just lay still. But
slowly dying.
I'm not letting that one go.
You know what? I will bring that up the chain. I will propose that to the athletic community.
It should be like dying bug. So, but I would hold my breath in the beginning, and it's just like once I understood and like really pushed myself and really worked hard on the breath work that it's like, oh, it is easier.
So,
and when you talk to me about the deadlifts, about exhaling during the hardest part, I'm like, oh, that's much easier than inhaling during the hardest part.
Fine. It's just rhythm stuff too, right?
Yeah,
and it comes with experience and, again, consistency, like just getting in and doing it every week.
Yeah, and but if you guys weren't here and I was somewhere trying to do this myself, I would be holding my breath the whole time, and I would never reach the gains that I've gotten. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And it's funny because even my nephew got inspired to get lifting shoes for his gym. And I'm just like, I love that your old aunt is like influencing.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool.
Again, think about the people that you've influenced so far, and crazy. I can guarantee you it's more than that. So in closing, I'll ask you this. If you had to provide a message to yourself 18 months ago before you started, anybody in your position, what would you say to your earlier version of yourself or to anybody that's in the position that you were in?
That coming in, you don't have to be like anybody else here. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to move a certain way. You don't have to have any minimum strength level. You just have to show up and say, I want to get better. And whether you start at 0 and you get to 1 or you start at 50 and get to 60, it's still celebrated the same.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming in and spending this time. I mean, again, I know you're busy and you got a lot of stuff to do, but I just love obviously hanging out with you and being able to have the sessions with you, but I love your story and I love your perseverance. I love your successes, your wins, and I love to share them with you guys.
And I love your tolerance of all my, I'm not doing that.
We figured it out.
Follow it up with, I did it.
I did it. And we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it.
We are.
I mean, look,
we are.
You said it earlier, like this is just, it's the journey.
Yeah.
And it never kind of ends. We're built to move.
And when I realized that, it was so profound. It was like, oh.
And then enjoying the kayaking and all the other stuff that's just like the supplementary things that you never even
I've never
thought
kayaked
of.
in my life.
Yeah.
That was literally my first time in a kayak ever.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. Loved it.
That's
and
awesome.
It's because of what we do here.
Well, I hope we continue to get to hang out much more and continue to see the gains. And, in maybe another 6-8 months or a year, we'll revisit this and have to do another one and we can see where you're at then.
Sounds good.
All
right. Thank you.
So thank you very much, guys. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and Chris, and we will talk to you guys soon.